June 2020 Planetary Transits for Gemini and Gemini Rising. This is an equal house chart set up for 0 degrees Gemini on the ascendant, Eastern Daylight Time, New York. We begin June 1st, 2020, with 2 retrograde planets in Capricorn in the 8th house sector. Jupiter at 26 degrees conjunct Pluto at 24 degrees of Capricorn. The Sun is placed in the 1st house at 11 degrees of Gemini with the planet Venus at 15 degrees of Gemini, retrograde. The planet Mercury is at 4 degrees of Cancer in the 2nd house. In the 9th house, we have the planet Saturn at 1 degree of Aquarius, retrograde. Mars is moving through the 10th house at 12 degrees of Pisces with Neptune at 20 degrees Pisces. The moon is in Libra at 8 degrees in the 5th house sector, and Uranus is in the 12th house at 8 degrees of Taurus. Overview. June of 2020 brings 3 major events: the second hit at exactitude of the magnificent Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, an annular solar eclipse, and the entrance of Mars in Aries for a 6-month-long transit. Let's look at each one and determine the life areas that will be impacted. The Jupiter-Pluto conjunction will make its second hit at exactitude in your 8th house at 24 degrees Capricorn, 6 minutes, retrograde. Planets in retrograde motion bring a review and readjustment. In the 8th house of joint finances, insurance, taxes, bank loans, and annuities or inheritances, expect these life areas to be redetermined. Additionally, due to the positive, expansive nature of this conjunction, whatever you require to move forward will be available. This conjunction is characterized by lucky, fated events, but there are pitfalls ahead over the next 6 months due to Mars in high tension. Please refer to my videos on the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction 2020 for Gemini and Gemini Rising, uploaded in December 2019, as well as my video on the 6-month transit of Mars in Aries for Gemini and Gemini Rising. The second and third events of importance occurring in June 2020 is the annular solar eclipse of June 21st at 0 degrees Cancer, 21 minutes, happening in your 2nd house of money, possessions, and personal values, which is activated by Mars entering Aries on June 27th. On June 27th, 28th, and 29th, as Mars ignites the eclipse point in your 2nd house, there could be a crisis or just intense activity and change with finances and your budget. Eclipse activations bring emphasis and focus to the life area it impacts. Of course, if you know your exact time of birth and have your astrological chart, you'll also have greater accuracy of interpretation. On June 2nd, Venus square Mars between houses 1 and 10 could stir up friction with superiors, especially if you try to force the issue of your needs and wants instead of patiently going with the flow. Mars in high tension is exceedingly egocentric. In conflict with Venus, diplomacy may be lacking. Be conscious of your state of mind and make adjustments. The planet Venus conjuncts the Sun on June 3rd in your 1st house, a very sociable and affectionate energy. Reach out to others, get together, and have some fun. June 5th brings the full moon, 3:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, at 15 degrees of Sagittarius in opposition to the Sun at 15 degrees of Gemini, spanning houses 7 and 1, highlighting relationships, both personal and business, your needs and wants versus the needs and wants of a partner. The planet Mars at 15 degrees of Pisces is making a high tension square, 90-degree aspect to this full moon. This is a highly frictional and impatient full moon. Be careful of what you say and how you say it at this time to avoid a major conflict with others. If you're on the road today, drive defensively, especially if you're irritated or frustrated. On June 6th, under Sun square Mars between houses 1 and 10, intense ego conflicts with others in your profession could erupt. This is an aspect of high energy and aggression, with a tendency to force circumstances with others who will then try to stop you because they feel threatened. Conversely, you may have to contend with someone overstepping your boundaries. Instead of ego conflicts, use this energy to get a great deal of work done. On June 11th, Sun square Neptune between houses 1 and 10 is an aspect of deception resulting in confusion. The information you receive on the mental plane may be at odds with what your gut feelings are telling you about a situation. On another level, do not permit any news you receive to activate your inherent fears. Your imagination may be in overdrive. June 13th brings Mars conjunct Neptune in the 10th house, an energy of secret affairs and behind-the-scenes activities. Deceptive actions, however, are not likely to succeed at this time. On another level, the desire to escape the mundane will be strong. Do so in creative ways instead of indulgence in drugs or alcohol. On June 18th, the planet Mercury turns retrograde at 14 degrees of Cancer in the second house sector. Also, on June 18th, Mars sextiles Pluto between houses 10 and 8, a positive vibration under which to communicate with superiors and suggest changes or reforms in the workplace. The Sun enters Cancer on June 20th, ushering in the summer solstice and moving into your second house. Under Mars sextile Jupiter, also on June 20th, between houses 10 and 8, ask for career benefits or favors from superiors. They'll be more receptive at this time. June 21st brings the new moon, 2:42 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 0 degrees of Cancer, 21 minutes in the second house, highlighting personal finances and possessions over the month ahead. Use this energy for a fresh start in your budget, implement a new financial plan, and reset goals. This new moon is an annular solar eclipse that will be activated by Mars on June 27th, 28th, and 29th, emphasizing the concerns of this life area. The planet Neptune turns retrograde on June 23rd at 20 degrees of Pisces in the 10th house. Venus turns direct motion on June 25th at 5 degrees of Gemini in the first house sector. The planet Mars enters Aries on June 27th and moves into the 11th house. Mars sextiles Saturn on June 28th between houses 11 and 9 favors getting together with friends for some outdoor activities. A good day to take a trip, go hiking, or play ball. June 30th brings the second hit at exactitude of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction at 24 Capricorn 6 minutes retrograde in your 8th house sector. Also on June 30th, we have Mercury sextile Uranus between houses 2 and 12 and Mercury conjunct the Sun in the second house. Both aspects tell the story of intense mental activity and harmonious communication concerning personal finances and personal values, especially along the lines of reorganizing and restructuring your financial future to fit current needs, as well as the amount of money needed to implement the fulfillment of what you personally value the most. An excellent time for discussing and creating long range plans.